Hello from the dung heap, everybody. These are my friends. A lot of
Hi,
them.
friends.
There he is. Hi, sweetie.
Hello. Good morning, everybody.
And we're live. Hello. SPTV. Hello, everybody, and we're back. We're back. Here we are. So, yeah. So this morning I popped on, and there were lots of things that people wanted to chat about. So I decided let's just do a chit chat, and then I decided to reschedule the stream that I'm doing now. And so here we are, about an hour later, and this is a very serious topic. I feel like we're just going to pretty much scratch the surface of this subject. There's so many things that kind of came to mind that were either my experience or things that I've learned and things that I'm just musing about and pondering and studying about. So I wanted to just give kind of an introduction and overall, overview of what I've been thinking about between the relationship or the connection of sadistic behavior, and we'll go into what that is, the definition, and narcissism, psychopathy, cult abuse, coercive control, dominance, all the things. So I definitely want to put a very strong trigger warning on here. Thank you, Stay Spirit. It just popped up. Yes, thank you. All the mods are yes. Absolutely take care of yourself. Anna from Canada. Hello. Osa here. Yeah. No, lots of Osa in here. And if you're not sure what we're talking about, you can watch the stream before us, or you can go to Miss Kim's channel and check out her stream from last night. So yeah. I'm not sure where to start, but usually I want to just start at the very beginning with some definitions and show you an article that I found that was very fascinating and kind of gave an overview of what I wanted to present here, and just get your input of what you think about it all and some of my own experiences. And I will be bringing up some things that may seem insulting to Christianity, is particularly, and in Scientology, which we don't mind that. But sometimes you got to face up to, like, Christianity has a pretty violent history, and I can't really change that fact about it. Not picking on any religion or Christianity as a whole, but just so if that really triggers you. Are you very sensitive to any criticisms of the history of Christianity? Then absolutely, definitely take care of yourself. So I'm going to start a few things as I go along. If you have any questions or comments, I just want to ask today, just because I don't have anybody in StreamYard, if you could try to condense I know you only get so many things, but if you have a comment, doing it in 2 parts is really difficult for me when I don't have somebody helping me in StreamYard. So not to call anybody out, I'm just asking if you can kind of like condense it, or just do a few different comments. And the shorter the better, just because, I don't know, my head, I just have a really hard time reading long comments. So I'm just asking, if you could help me out here today. My mind's I'm a little bit foggy today, so I'm going to really try to present this in a cohesive and I don't know, easy to understand way. So Okay, we got George Massey. OSA operatives, please report for muster. Yes. All here and accounted for. Awesome. Oh my goodness. I tell you, it's crazy, huh? Why are you not on the list? I know a lot of people are feeling really, really left out. Okay, so here we are. I want to just start with a simple definition of sadism. I'm not talking about 50 Shades of Grey here, S&M, whatever happens consensually between two consenting adults. I don't care. That's really not what I'm, talking about. Okay. This is the definition of sadism that I came across. Is the tendency to derive pleasure and gratification from inflicting pain, suffering, or humiliation on others. Yeah, I've seen that throughout my life in human behavior, in different intensities, different types of people that I've encountered. Sometimes it's like, you want to kind of razz people and joke about them a little bit. I've done that. I've done it even on here. I don't want to inflict pain or humiliation on people at all. But, sometimes we do it. Sometimes we don't mean to do it. Sometimes we kind of mean to like rib somebody. But I'm talking really extreme cases, although, there's degrees of it. And I don't think any of it is that nice. So I'm going to try to be a little better about that. A lot better about that. But as far as the damage it can do in relationships, in religious type atmosphere, in cults especially, those are the things that I want to focus on. So let me pull up my first screen share here, which I thought was really interesting. Bear with me. I'm not going to read the whole thing. I did link it below in the description of the video. It's a fascinating read. Definitely check it out if you're interested in this topic at all. Excuse me. Right, Asen. The preferred method narcissists use to make themselves feel better. Yeah, we'll go through that. It's just very I don't know, it's like bone chilling to me. Okay, let's put this up. So this is an article called From Psychopaths to Everyday Sadists. Why do humans harm the harmless? And this is in The Conversation, it's called. And I believe this is like an answer to a question by Brian Goff is the author. Okay, there's the question. Why are some humans cruel to people who don't even pose a threat to them, sometimes even their own children? Where does this behavior come from and what purpose does it serve? Ruth, 45, London. Humans are the glory and the scum of the universe, concluded the French philosopher Blaise Pascal in 1650. Little has changed. We love and we loathe. We help and we harm. We reach out a hand and we stick in the knife. We understand if someone lashes out in retaliation or self-defense, but when someone harms the harmless, we ask, how could you? Humans typically do things to get pleasure or avoid pain. For most of us, hurting others causes us to feel their pain, and we don't like this feeling. This suggests two reasons people may harm the harmless. Either they don't feel the other's pain or they enjoy feeling the other's pain. Another reason people harm the harmless is because they nonetheless see a threat. Someone who doesn't imperil your body or wallet can still threaten your social status. This helps explain why other puzzling actions, such as when people harm others who help them financially. So it goes on and gives some different examples. This is called sadists and psychopaths. Someone who gets pleasure from hurting or humiliating others is a sadist. Sadists feel other people's pain more than is normal, and they enjoy it. At least they do until it's over. Then they may feel bad. Okay, I'm going to down a little bit. Okay. This part says, unlike sadists, and I don't want to get political here at all. Unlike sadists, psychopaths don't harm the harmless simply because they get pleasure from it, though they may. Psychopaths want things. If harming others helps them get what they want, so be it. They can act this way because they are less likely to feel pity, remorse, or fear. They can also work out what others are feeling, but not get infected by such feelings themselves. This is a seriously dangerous set of skills. Over millennia, humanity has domesticated itself. This has made it difficult for many of us to harm others. Many who harm, torture, or unalive will be haunted by the experience. Yet, psychopathy is a powerful predictor of someone inflicting unprovoked violence. Okay, there's a little more, and there's one other section I wanted to read before this out. Okay, fear and dehumanization. Sadism involves enjoying another person's humiliation and hurt. Yet it is often said that dehumanizing people is what allows us to be cruel. Potential victims are labeled as dogs, lice, or cockroaches, allegedly making it easier for others to hurt them. Did I hear that right? Potential victims are labeled as dogs, lice, or cockroaches. Dogs, lice, or cockroaches. Are fleas included in there? Just asking. Just asking. All right. There is something to this. Research shows that if someone breaks a social norm, our brains treat their faces as less human. This makes it easier for us to punish people who violate norms of behavior. And I would add, on the internet, that's probably even easier. As it is a sweet sentiment to think that if we see someone as human, then we won't hurt them. It is also a dangerous delusion. The psychologist Paul Bloom argues our worst cruelties may rest on not dehumanizing people. People may hurt others precisely because they recognize them as human beings who don't want to suffer pain, humiliation, or degradation. And then it goes into something that happened in Germany that we don't like to talk about on YouTube. So, yeah, a lot to think about there. It really shed some light on some of the things that I've been thinking about, and in relation to my cult experience. And a couple words that come to mind is, number one, dehumanization. Reducing someone to a dog, a flea, whatever, not less than human. And if someone has a sadistic trait about them, then it makes it even easier for them to inflict pain without any conscience. And we talk a lot about narcissism, narcissistic abuse, psychopathy, and that's one trait that they don't seem to have any remorse or compassion, empathy. Lack of empathy is a big thing. So not that all. As far as what I've read so far, not all narcissists are necessarily sadistic as far as inflicting pain, but they tend to not empathize with someone. And that is a perfect recipe, a bad one, for a cult leader to an edible dinosaur. Oh my goodness. Dino nuggets. I almost called you dino nuts. Sorry. Yeah, a little bit of humor is probably good here and there, because this is a really, really tough topic. And the cult leaders that I'm thinking of right now, Marlene Sweeney, I like to say her name any chance I get, LRH, and many others. You think of the extreme ones like Jim Jones and all them. One thing that they have in common is a lack of compassion and empathy. And there's certain words that were used, like LRH, too gruesome. He purposely made things too gruesome. And that whole desensitization of the TRs and the abuse, purposely abusing people to get them to be, tone 40 or just not react at all. Do you think he enjoyed that? Yeah, I do. I do. And I think also, especially with exposing children to this at a young age, I can't stress enough how much I feel, and many of you and many of the ex-Scientologists know and feel that child auditing is such a horrible thing. And one of the many reasons is exposing children to this at a very early age is so damaging. It creates a disconnect. It desensitizes them. It causes all kinds of problems for them in the future. I was looking at article after article about children being exposed to violent images, to abuse, to even on the internet seeing images, or in my case, learning about, the Armageddon and the tribulation and the unaliving off with your head. All those things, the hellfire and the brimstone, constantly being immersed in that was so damaging, and for me it was more, I think because maybe I'm a natural empath, it made me withdraw and be just scared all the time. I was just constantly terrified. Some people would have a different reaction, and start to inflict that on other people as they are brought up in it, think of it this way. We see some, and I'll say it, some of the OGs, some of, people that are just very quick to call people POSs, even other survivors, other victims. I think LRH was a sadist. Yeah, I mean, my opinion. And just all of the lashing out and almost delighting in it. And that's something that was conditioned. I think people, Scientologists were conditioned to not only take it, but dish it out. And they deserve it, right? Is the mentality. And basically just like strong terms and things like that, like just destroy them. They're enemies. They commit crimes, and it is like dehumanizing, I should say. I want to share a couple of things, and then I definitely want to get your input. But from my own, this is hard. From my own experience, I think that, I mean, let's face it, the Bible is filled with a lot of violence. And um, and not, I'm not saying all Christians do this. I was in a very extreme church, even as a child, but there was this tendency to scare you straight, right? The hellfire and brimstone. And there was a lot of age inappropriate things that I was exposed to very, very young. And we've talked about some of it before. As some of you would remember that Kelly and I, one of them got taken down. One of the streams that we tried to do, we did like a review of a movie that I saw as a little kid. And I was maybe, I don't know, I say around 10 years old. And it was called The Distant Thunder. And it was about the tribulation. And it depicted these people that had missed the rapture because they lacked faith or they didn't accept Jesus as their savior. And some of them were unalived brutally at the end. And that stuck with me. It really did. And I had nightmares about it for many, many years. And even now, it brings this kind of, okay, I gotta get rid of somebody. Ban user. All right, bye. Anyways, okay. There was something else that I learned about as a kid, and it was something that Marlene was very, very, very obsessed with. And I want to share this with you because I don't know if some of you know about this. Some Christians that I know of, think that this is a positive thing. And I know Christians that have worshiped this book. Okay. It's called The Fox's Book of Martyrs. If anyone's heard of it, put a 1 in the chat. I'm just interested in knowing. It was written by a Protestant. I forgot his name. I will bring it up. Let's see. Oh, I had it on Wikipedia. Okay. Well, okay. I'll share. I'm going to share the Amazon page of it because it's there's something I wanted to show you in there anyways. Okay. Excuse me. This is a book that some of my, when I was an adult, some of my housemates, my kind of Sea Org type commune mates, roommates, whatever, carried around actually in their pocket. It was called The Fox's Book of Martyrs. Okay, I hope you guys are on top of this troll thing, but I'm going to make sure I ban them from here. But, see, that kind of stuff, it's just ridiculous. I mean, come on. All right, just start some things. Okay, so Fox's Book of Martyrs is by John Fox, and the editor was William Byron Forbush. And the question is, would you suffer and die for Christ? And that was brought up to me a lot as a kid. Would you lay your life down for Jesus? Would you actually be unalived? And that's something I always was afraid of, because if you read this book, I mean, it shows and also it kind of pits. This was written by a Protestant. It's very anti-Catholic, and it pits, I think, Protestants against Catholics, although Protestants, in history could be very violent as well. So it really glorifies martyrdom. And don't get me wrong, I think that if you end up being unalived, being sacrificed for a cause, like say, you're in the army and you're a fallen soldier, you become a fallen soldier. I think that is admirable, right? But and I'm going to use this example of Jehovah's Witnesses. There was this awful, awful video that I saw of a list of children who had fallen ill and were in the hospital and needed blood transfusions. And they had been pretty much brainwashed into refusing to get a blood transfusion. And luckily the state and I think law enforcement and judges have since started to step in and not allow the parents to assign for these children to basically die, and to not receive life-giving blood transfusions. That's just, to me, is such a senseless death. It's like that gets my biscuits burning big time. Is you want to die for the cause, that's fine, but your child that can't consent, again, children can't consent, and that just gets me so angry that they would allow that and do that. And then they're acting like this child is such a martyr, and oh my goodness, they gave their life to, laid down their life for God. For what? To appease some deity, to make some point. Just a senseless, pointless death. And I remember Marlene over and over and over just telling these stories of these, quote, amazing martyrs, some which were unalived for the cause, and just their bodies were just discarded. Like in the Colosseum, there was like this young woman who she wouldn't renounce Christ. I'm getting emotional because it was so awful, guys. And her body was like played with by lions. It's just fucking sick, I'm sorry. Let's do a Xena Marlene. Let's do it. I'm thinking of Doug. Doug used to do this when I'd get upset. So, have a sip of water. Okay. Better now. Thanks for your patience, guys. Kathy Scoggins, that's one of the reasons I uninvolved myself with Jehovah's Witnesses. Yeah, it's just awful. It's just terrible. And excuse me. You know, I was constantly being reminded of so many missionaries. Some had been speared to death by you know, native natives in the country that they were missionaries in. Sorry, I'm getting blurry. And you know, eaten by alligators and all that. Sorry. And it was in our cult, it was said that like that was the like the best thing that could ever happen to you, you know? And it wasn't until much later that I was thinking about it when I started to have my wits about me, right? And started to actually think, and I'm like, these people that were carrying around Fox's Book of Martyrs and Bibles and stuff at the beach. I remember some of my housemates, we went to like Algonquin Beach, Maine, and I'm sitting there and I'm putting suntan lotion on me, and I've got my sunglasses, and you know, I was like all excited to be there. And I look over there and they've got their Bible and their Fox's Book of Martyrs and stuff. And I'm like, why be sitting on the beach? You know? And it made me almost like want to not be alive anymore. Because what's the sense if God, who you're serving, who you're giving your whole life to, and you are you know, laying down your life every day. I'm like, I'm tired of this. And that's why I think so many religious zealots that end up joining cults, either the cult itself leads them to unaliving themselves, or that is sometimes a natural end. And it's just absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. Um, yeah. So I think in my case, instead of being desensitized to it, I would turn it on myself and I would just hate myself for not desiring to be martyred. Because like I said, once I started having my wits about me, I was thinking the very people that were saying like, oh, it'd be so amazing to be martyred, they were the meanest, you know, like sadistic, very like entitled and cruel. Marlene and some of her relatives, I'll be honest, they were the most just freaking little princesses from Long Island. I mean, not to pick on people from Long Island. There's some lovely people from Long Island, but they were very entitled, you know, and just nasty. They could be very, very nasty. And it's like now I look at it and I'm like, that was a bunch of bollocks. That was total bollocks. That was bullshit, right? Um, but when I was in it, I couldn't see the forest for you know, through the trees. So I wanted to put that out to you. There's so many things, so many, you know, areas I could go with this. If you look at just Google L. Ron Hubbard and read his Wikipedia feed there. I was skipping around in it um this morning, and there were so many things that I was kind of piecing together throughout his life. And the fact that he dabbled in the black magic and the sexual rituals and all that stuff. And then his first two wives, I'm not sure about Mary Sue, but his first two wives, especially Sarah, accused him of torture and being a sadistic, cruel, horrible person. Right. She retracted it later on so she could get her child back and said, oh, they misrepresented me in the press. But before that, Polly, his first wife, who he was still married to when he married Sarah Northrop, she backed her up about L. Ron's character at first until, of course, he was able to completely squash that. And I think that was the beginning of him being able, probably made her sign some kind of thing. I'm pretty sure he did. Made her sign a thing. I was like, oh no, he was great. He was wonderful. And what does that remind you of? Those NDAs and that the exit videos that they did, like with Valerie Haney. Oh no, David Miscavige, she's wonderful, and Shelley's wonderful, and everything was wonderful. It's just, oh yeah, I don't know. But there's so many, like I said, there's so many different aspects of his life. You could see that sadistic quality. You could see even in his writings, the too gruesome thing, the thing of even like what Mark Turi was showing us about being on staff. They don't care. They don't care about their followers and their fellow Scientologists. They rat on each other. They treat children as adults. Yeah, silent birth. Right. Good point. Yeah, all these things. Yeah, I'd like to see him, give birth without making a sound. It is. It's so cruel and gross. Kay Taylor, Elleridge created his own military through brainwashing. Absolutely. Absolutely. And yeah, so many things that were just cruel. And you kind of see that little glimmer, that little gleam in their eye, some of them, when they talk about the tech and when they talk about the good old days, people being overboarded, right? I'd probably drown because I'm not the greatest swimmer, and I hate heights, and I hate having things up. And it's amazing that people didn't drown that we know of. Maybe they covered it up. Who knows? Allegedly, I don't know. just speculation. But Nico enabling, yeah. I'm I'm scrolling up, and let me know if you have any questions or comments. I just thought I would just open up the discussion because it's just a theme that I'm seeing while I'm exploring different cults, aspects of Scientology, aspects of the quote tech, just remembering my own experiences in my cult, my former cult. Yeah. Okay, just looking through the comments here, and I'll go back up and read them. Oh, okay. Hey, Adrian, good to see you. Squirrel Girl, hey there. Hi, everybody. Thank you all for being here. Marina, everyone that came back from earlier. Terry Morgan, thank you. Appreciate that. People want to be on that list, that OSA list. All right, 1 sec. Oh, yeah, one other quick thing I wanted to show you about this Fox's Book of Martyrs. So this is from Amazon. Oh, boy. Yeah, it kind of glorifies it. But, whatever you think of martyrdom, I think we could all agree. Sorry, okay. This is the top review. Very first one. Top reviews from the United States. Rudy gives this book a 5-star vote. Important book for the family. Now, Rudy does not say how old their children are, but it says, read a chapter a day to my kids. Read a chapter of this, and it's so gross and violent and scary and gave me major PTSD. Read a chapter, and even as an adult, it did, as an adult. Read a chapter a day to my kids. It helps us remember those who had it much harder than we do and yet did not compromise even as they faced death. So what do you think goes through a kid's mind? They're just wondering what's for dinner. They're playing with their friends. They got to do some chores. Yeah, these people definitely had it much harder than them. But why do they need to think about not compromising as they face death at that age? It's so damaging and so disgusting. I can't even describe, you know, how the negative emotions I feel when I see that, like that's a great thing. And that was the number one top comment on that, review on that book. So, uh, Joel McClain. Yeah, how did Joel make the list? I still can't get that. I still can't understand that at all. My wife says no big deal. You and me are on all kinds of shit lists. Congratulations. They're on the dung heap list. Yeah, I'm glad we can laugh about it. And I'm glad I can laugh about the dung heap now because I was so afraid of it. Yeah. Yes, trigger warning. Definitely. You may wonder why, because I wonder why I sometimes choose subjects that I know there's a trigger warning, and I feel a little triggered, Um I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I just feel like sometimes for me, facing parts of my past and educating myself, looking up the definitions, looking up uh, past instances that have happened to other people, thinking about things that have happened to me, being able to work through it with all of you and talk about it. It does help me to talk about things. It, um, there was something that I brought up on the Mental Health Matters to Us channel with Keela and Dr. Gretchen last week that I'd never shared online, and I barely ever shared with anyone in my life. And I had been, I've been in this whole space, and even just on the internet at all, as a whole, for about a year and a half now. And it took this long to be able to talk about what I call my wolf years, between ages 5 and 9 when I was adopted. So between the fire and me being adopted, because it was just awful, just too gruesome, But I did feel comfortable with it, and I'm not comfortable, but I feel able to talk about it. And I did feel better after I did. Um, I did feel triggered at first, but then I worked through it and I'm okay. I'm okay. And I realized that I needed that time to be ready, you know. And I haven't really been able to talk about Fox's Book of Murders until today. And I get that reaction, brings tears to my eyes because I just remember the pain that even just that book caused me, you know. Um, I think maybe because as a kid, I felt kind of discarded and not important. And so to just read stories of, like, there was this other story, and I don't know if, some Christians really like the stories of Elizabeth Elliot and Amy Carmichael. Amy Carmichael was a missionary to India. She wrote a book, a bunch of books, and another author, Elizabeth Elliot, wrote a book, A Chance to Die. And just even the title of that, A Chance to Die, like, oh, can't wait to die. It makes it to where you're devaluing life, And there was a story that, excuse me, that Amy Carmichael told of this woman. Well, it was really a little girl to start with, named Mimosa. And she used to work in the fields in India, and she was so abused. She had a husband that they called him a taskmaster, and he was a horrible, abusive husband. And somehow they glorified the abuse, the fact that she was able to take on the abuse and thank God for the abuse and be toiling day and night and day, like a Sea Org member, and with babies strapped to her back and her front and all that. And somehow her being, quote, grateful for the suffering was somehow a noble thing. And what makes it even worse is that Marlene basically commissioned one of my fellow cult mates to write a children's version of that mimosa story and illustrate it. And I don't know if she ever finished it, but in my mind, in my mind's mind, in my heart of hearts, I just knew that I was never going to expose my children to that effing book. And so I'm glad that I never came across it, never saw it, and would never let my children read it because it was just so horrible. It was too gruesome. So, okay, I'm going to get your comments and questions. Thank you, George, for reminding everybody. I have a few that are starter ready. All right, just want to pick up where I left off here. All right. So we got ASIN, narcissism, something I had around me my whole life. Result is depression and PTSI. Yeah. Yeah. It's no joke. It's really awful. I hear ya. ASIN again. If you go to war or kill or die in the name of religion, I mean any religion, it is wrong. How and what you believe should always be personal. That's a good idea. Yeah, that's a good point because I think yeah, you said it best. I agree with that. Even though I think people that I know, maybe even in my adopted family, would disagree with me that it is a noble thing, that it's a good thing, and it's like the highest honor or the highest esteem to be martyred for Jesus Christ. Unless you miss the rapture and you get unalived that way, that's not really noble. And then you end up in the lower rank of heaven, headless slum heaven, which that's, you've already missed the boat there. So, Jersey Jan, question, is there a name for a person who sees the narcissist behavior and does nothing to keep the peace? Is there a name? I'm sure there is. Well, there's there's victim of a narcissist. Narcissists are often attracted to empaths who would make excuses for their behavior or blame themselves for the narcissist behavior on them. I don't know if there's like a name for them. Often narcissists will scapegoat their victims. So scapegoat could be one of them. But yeah, there's many. We look at, in DV situations too, people, women, especially, but can be men as well, will just let it go on just to keep the peace, James Steele, let them decide at 18. I'd be like, he'll give me, the blood. I'm offer more booze, weed, alcohol I can get. Give me the blood. Oh, I hear you. Right. Yeah. By 18, they probably wouldn't want to die. I hear you. And maybe some kids, I'm willing to bet that some kids didn't even know that they were being refused blood, and didn't choose that for themselves at all. So. Okay, I'm just trying to scan these before I pop them up. Hey, Bo Beats. Changing the state of the world seems almost hopeless at times, as the people that are attracted to power are inevitably narcissists, sadists, etc. Good point. Whereas the empaths are content not to be in power. Yeah, I agree with that. Very good point there. It's unfortunate, but I think it's correct. George Massey, I saw this so much in the corporate world. When I saw it, the person being belittled were not diminished in my eyes. The person handing out the abuse were most definitely diminished to me. Absolutely. Oh, Nico YEG lost a friend in high school from not receiving blood after an accident. Oh, that just breaks my heart. First coffee, I truly believe Rinder is sadistic. I tend to agree. Bo Beats, no sheep. I remember coming back to school for grade 8 after my usual 2-week summer Bible camp stint and being called names by the kids. I had to ask my mom what a fanatic was first time my eyes were open. Yeah, I hear ya. Kids are cruel. Ray Bay, hey there. I like that name. When I was 15, I was in a pediatric hospital after many life-saving transfusions, and my best friend's mom, who is Jehovah's Witness, was telling me now is the time to choose faith, their faith. Ooh, no, I'm glad you didn't. Glad you didn't. Yep, Kathy's Goggins. All cults have a few things in common, especially the leader being a sadistic narcissist. Yep, I would agree with that. I would. Yeah, and like I always say, it's always opposite day in a cult, right? It's like Marlene used to say things like, excuse me, you got to die to live, die to yourself and then you'll be alive to Jesus. This whole like cruel to be kind, just for no reason. It's like just constantly inflicting suffering on yourself, on other people, always witch hunting. There was something in her that that enjoyed that. And I'm just going to say this. I'm just going to say this in like a sentence or two. I don't want to get, this is another thing I'm not really ready to talk about yet, but um, my adopted mother had some major mental health issues and unfortunately still does. And I would honestly put her in this category, at least towards me and some of the other foster kids. Not, I never really saw it with her biological children, but she's doing some things. Even I'm stuttering just saying it. Um, yeah, it was really bad, and she was very disturbed. I don't think she should have been entrusted with foster kids at all, and she ended up having on and off, throughout the years, 18 of them. I don't know what the system is like now as far as screening people. I have a relative that was amazing foster mom, and she definitely deserved to have those children. I don't know if she was screened. I'm sure if she was, she passed with flying colors, but I'm not sure about that. But some really just nasty, mean, bullyish things happen, and I just remember that evil gleam in her eye, you know? So, I don't wanna have to do another Xena Marley right now, so I'm gonna just stop there with that, but, um, again, very strong trigger warning with this, and I know that, unfortunately, many of you can relate, whether you were in a cult or not, because this this can be inflicted on people, religion or not, right? And I agree that narcissists tend to want to be in power, and sometimes that results in them being a cult leader. Rika, I was able to get away from the cult I grew up in after horrific abuse, but my sister couldn't shake the guilt and shame of indoctrination. And yeah, I'm sorry about that. Sorry. That's awful. Rebe, my Catholic family members were in the room while my friends, Jehovah's Witness parents, were at my bedside trying to recruit me. I don't know how they kept their cool. Ugh, that is so gross. That's so gross. So just horrific. But first, coffee, Susie Overholtz. I'm still pissy about not making the list. How did you not make the list? Well, I guess I'm not on the list, which is amazing, but because they sent me the list to warn me. And a lot of them were my friends on it. Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't get the email or be on the list. My goodness. You're going to have to just try harder. That's right. That's right. Hey, Maria from Greece. Hey there. 7:30 p.m. Oh, that reminds me, programming notes is this is my second stream today. And then today at 4 o'clock PST, which is Pacific time, and 7 o'clock Eastern time, which is my time, I will be visiting the what does he call it? BS Incinerator, the Incineration Nation, over on Eric Rader's channel. So check that out. That'll be really, really fun. I think he called it WON, like one on one. So yeah, we're just gonna have a chat. So definitely subscribe to Eric Rader. It's at BS Incinerator. Check out his channel. Flying monkeys. One sec. Destiny Salazar, great to see you. I haven't seen you in a little while. Thank you for holding space for this honest discussion. We just lost a family member who wasted her last days being a martyr. Now we are picking up the pieces, caring for her kids in the aftermath. Yeah. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I think it's definitely something to talk about. We tackle some difficult subjects, but sometimes I think they're very much worth talking about. Thank you for that, for the encouragement. And I'm so sorry about your family member. That's horrific. And that's wonderful that you are helping her kids. Rebate enablers. Yes, there. That says it in a nutshell. People that just keep the peace and don't want to rock the boat and allow narcissists, psychopaths, abusers to go on abusing. Yeah. And I understand why people would be fearful to stand up to a narcissist, you know. And Casillas, hey there, friend. To die or kill in the name of any religion makes me think you have missed the message and meaning of life, in my opinion. Yeah, right, exactly. I mean, what God would want you to do that? You know what I mean? And what kind of terrible state of the world where you just are unalived because of your religion. Awful. Eaglewood, if JW can have blood from another JW, what's the problem? A good friend lost his mom 12 years. I don't think you can. I don't know. Can you get blood from another JW? I don't think they do that, but I could be wrong. Anybody who's former JW, let us know if they're able to give blood to each other. I would think that more would be saved if that was the case. Bo Beats, George's comment kind of like when little Davy jumped on the conference table to beat the crap out of Jeffrey Hawkins. I looked down on Miscavige, not Hawkins. Right. Yeah, exactly. And really, what choice did he have? I mean, there were grown men around him that didn't stick up for him. And yeah, it's that cult. It's the brainwashing. And they just didn't just arrive there. A lot of them were either born into, a lot of them were second gens that even were around that table that somehow were conditioned to think that was a good thing, that that Jeff Hawkins deserved it, or that was for his own good. It's just sick. It's absolutely sick. And which makes me think of another thing. A lot of those people that rose to the top were aggressors themselves. So just going to leave that there too. So I don't feel super sorry for them. Jeff seems like a really nice guy, though. I think that his heart was in the right place. He just wanted to help, promote his religion and Dianetics. And he was just good at graphic design and promotion, which, yeah, I don't think he's, a narcissist or an aggressor, really. Bobby, so it sounds like she used foster kids as her outlet rather than her own kids. So sorry, Marilyn. Yes, and I think that she had these foster kids because of guilt. Something that she had done in her youth that she never talked about until much, much, much later. And I think, sometimes it can be a guilt thing. Unfortunately, I've known foster parents that just seem to collect them for the money and then not really even bother with them. But there are some really wonderful foster parents as well. Like my daughter fostered 2 infants for a year, and it was a great sacrifice. I know she doesn't regret it, but it's heartbreaking when they end up going back to the terrible situation. And I always tell her, hey, at least they had a year with you. You gave them so much love and made sure they had their therapy and all the therapies that they needed, early intervention and nutrition and all that. You gave them a good start. So yeah, and I think that someday they'll come back and thank her. Not that she's looking for it, but I think that'll happen. Cats, bats, and flowers. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. My mother-in-law believes adopted children have no rights. She doesn't understand how my parents love me, gave me the same opportunities as their birth children. And that's wonderful. I'm so happy that there are so many great foster parents that do that and adoptive parents. Absolutely. Oh, all right, Bobby. So she got to go have an appointment to give. Well, good. That's awesome. That is great. I've never given blood. I've talked about it. I don't know if I'm able to. I don't know what the criteria is, but I do have O negative, and so does my son Austin. So I've talked about that. I was like, hey, sometime during Mother's Day or something, around Mother's Day, because that seems to be when the blood mobile shows up at the local hospital for some reason in May. And I was like, yeah, Austin, we should go give blood because we have the universal blood. And then I was like, well, if one of us needs blood, we'll have to give it to each other because if you're O neg, you can. And it makes me think of watching Grey's Anatomy. Whenever anybody came in the ambulance, they'd be like, hang some O neg, But if you're O neg, you can only receive some O neg. So yeah, I think that's how it works. So that doesn't sound fair. Lori plays, wonderful to give. Yeah. I'm like a 10-gallon. Really? Awesome. Amazing. Yeah, it can. I agree with that. It can suck sometimes. That's for sure. All right. There we go. Lori, my blood type is like my personality. Yeah, be positive. Awesome. Yep, O positive. O negative is very much needed, but we can only receive O neg. Yep, that's right. Yeah. Okay, I think we got to the end. I still have a lot more. Maybe I'll do another follow-up to this, but thank you all for holding space for me and each other. And thank you for being here and talking, having this very difficult discussion with us, with each other. And yeah, I think I'll end it there. And yeah, don't forget to check out Eric Rader's channel at BS Incinerator. Give him a subscribe and yeah, check out our stream tonight at 7 Eastern. So I will see you later, everybody. Have a good day. Bye. Zenu, Marlene, everybody partake. Cheers. This is good coffee. This is why, my hubby makes the coffee.